6, and 7, a lot of people would think, well, what are we going to talk about? Because we're not we weren't privy to that information. We didn't see it. 6 and 7. And we don't understand how it fits in our narrative, right? How does that apply to what we're going through today? How's it going to make sense for us as a people? So that's my job. My job is to come in and show us, how does this make sense, right? What is the Most High trying to show us? Last week, we pretty much talked about how there was a pattern to, the covenant and what the Torah really meant and what's included inside of it, right? And we learned that. Let me let someone else in right quick. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to take a moment and we're going to go through and we're going to investigate some of the areas that we read about this week. Okay, I'm going to take myself off so no one would see my image. They can focus. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
So the name of our Torah portion this week is called Teruma. Okay, Teruma. Okay, and it's right here. I want to give you some Hebraic understanding, because words don't really mean anything if you don't know what the meanings are. Okay, so te is the first part, and then ruma. Okay, within this word, it consists of three parts. Okay, right. The te is you. Okay, you as an individual. Okay, the room means to rise or to lift. Okay, or to exalt, which we're going to get into, and then of course the is its feminine nature. Okay, so the teruma that they would have as what they would say a collection, or it's listed in English as an offering, is something that one is going to lift up and raise up that you are going to give to the Most High. Okay, the reason why it's feminine is simply because only a feminine nature can give something. Okay, like the land, Adamah, she gives the land, she gives the fruits and the produce from it. Kokma, which is wisdom, right? She gives instruction to learn how to ask questions. You know, the Torah, right? So all these ahs are feminine, okay? And your neshama, which is your soul, right? The breath of you. So all the ahs are the feminine nature. So what this is directed towards the soul. This is always directed to the soul. Okay. So in Hebrew, they have the masculine words and they have the feminine, and they both play certain roles, right? And so, as you have in nature, there's both the masculine and there's the feminine, and it's based on its energy. But all of us have a neshama, which is a soul, okay, that is feminine. And so that soul is the one who has the ability to give, right? And so this is what he's asking of the soul. Okay, he's asking for the soul to do something, all right? And it really depends on what the soul wants to do, right? So the teruma, the root of the word, has to do with exalt. So what the Most High is asking for through our reading this week about, hey, this is what I want you to collect from the people. I want you to, I want you to give, see if they take from them, some colors, some metals, some, fabrics. Take these things from them, a collection of these donations from them. And he's asking that because he wants them to exalt him. Okay. He wants them to actively play a role in the exaltation of him, which would be the lifting up of the tabernacle. Okay. So without these things, there would never have been a tabernacle. Okay. And so the purpose of this is for the Most High to have what they would say a dwelling place. And you learn this in your Torah portion this week where he says, they are to make me a sanctuary. Interesting enough, the individuals that are going to make this sanctuary are the people who are giving the teruma. So whether or not they're actually the ones who, like Betziel, we're going to find out more about him in the coming Torah portions, or Holiel, which is one of the other artisans who the Most High has given his spirit to make these articles that Moshe saw, right? I'm also going to, bring out some different things about how Moshe received this information. Last week we learned that he went up into the fire. The Most High called him up, and it was on a Shabbat that he called him up. So he waited 6 days, and then on the seventh day he called him up and said, "Hey, come up to me, just you by yourself, no one else. So come up to me." So he went, and when he went up there, everyone, he went into fire. He went into the fire of Yah. He went into another realm. Okay, and so when the Most High is talking to him, he's talking to him and showing him the pattern of things that he wanted him to make for his tabernacle. Okay, so this word sanctuary right here is often called, a tabernacle, but it's really called a mikdashi, and that means a set apart, a holy place. So it's not just a regular building; it's some place that has been sanctified, as you can see in the word sanctuary. Okay, so sanctification, that I might live with them. I want to dwell with the children of Israel in a very intimate way. I want to be around them. Okay. So this is the purpose of asking for the items that you read in your Torah portion in those few chapters this week. Okay. So what is the significance of this for us today? Well, we're going to find out which some of those things mean, not all of them. I can't go into detail. Last time we studied this, we talked about how the sisters were coming together making the curtains and how they were joined together. And so there's a sense of unity found in the idea of these items and these articles that are being given and how are they being put together. We also talked about how, as you look in this photo right here, we have these two images right here of these men. Okay, and the Hebrew calls them brothers, and it says that they're facing one another. They're brothers. Okay. So we have the brothers that were mentioned in there. We have the sisters who dealing with the curtains and which is connected to the curtains. We have the mother. The mother is included in the measurement of the ark, right? So we have these different relationships that are mentioned. Okay. And so I'm not going to go over that too much today. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into some of the other items. Okay. So I want you to take your notes and feel free to ask any questions if you have any. Okay. So here, this is a sanctuary that he says, I want to live among them. That's the goal. That's the whole purpose behind everything. He wants to live among us. Okay. And he cannot live among us if this doesn't exist. Okay. And also, too, he's not going to live among us while we're in a different type of mindset. And I know, I've said before that the Most High is not with us. And I mean that he's not living and dwelling among us. I'm not saying that the Most High is not, speaking to us. I'm not saying that he's in a sense of talking to us through his word, because his word is his voice. So he's opening up our understanding. So he is talking and communicating with us through his Torah. That's how he's communicating with us. Okay. He's not communicating with us through what you would say, some claim, the Holy Spirit. Even though he is the Spirit, he's not giving you his Spirit. He's talking to you. He's reasoning. Like he says, how can two walk together unless they be in agreement? And he begins to have a conversation, and he's opened up some dialogue that has been once lost. So we need to be excited about the fact that, yeah, he might not be living among us, but at least what he has done is he's jumpstart the conversation with the Torah, and it's been brought back to our attention. And you and I are responsible for how we respond to that nudge that he's given us. So when it came to us about what the Shabbat meant, that was his mercy and that was his kindness. And then when we looked at it and we investigated, you had to make a decision. Am I going to keep it or I'm not? When you looked at the diet, it was the same thing. These were the decisions that you've made. These are not things that he forced upon us. Okay. So his idea is to have a sanctuary among the children of Israel. And that is the ultimate goal. And I want you to keep that in mind. When he spoke to Moshe, everyone, he said that, I want you to build the Ark of the Covenant, and that's where I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to communicate with you from between the Ark, which you would actually see in your presentation today. This is kind of an example of when the Most High was talking to Moshe. Okay, so we're thinking that the image that he's showing them are separate items that don't exist, and that's not true. So everything that he was showing Moshe already exists. I'll say it again. Everything that he showed to Moshe already exists. He's just showing him and going through it with him and giving him the details on how it should be made. What are the metals that's supposed to be used? What are the fabrics that's supposed to be used? All those things already exist in the heavenlies. Yes, Elder Bill or Azania.
Now you answered. I was getting ready to ask. So these things are in the heavens, and you just said it. So
Yeah. Um,
really,
and then when the Most High was communicating with Moshe, everyone, he was communicating him from his throne. The Hebrew language tells us that he said when he was talking to him, he was talking to him just like he talks to him on the earth. He was talking to him from between these cherubim. So it's not something that's just being made up. It was something that Moshe was experiencing. And the only reason why he was able to experience is because his heart was turned towards the Most High. And he was humble, right? So he's using him to direct us on what he wants from us. Okay. And we haven't been told. We've been, said, hey, there's an Ark of the Covenant. There's, these different colors. I want you to make this sanctuary for me and, X, Y, and Z. And we've gone through those things, but we haven't looked at the meaning and the significance of it. We were told that he went up to the mountain, but we don't know the framework in which the Most High was talking to him. Okay. So everything the Most High was saying to him was things that are going to be played out exactly as they were there on the earth. Okay. So he was in a whole nother realm with the Most High. That's why he didn't eat for 40 days and 40 nights. That's why he didn't have any water. He didn't need to. He was in the presence of the Most High. And the Most High took his time with him and showed him these things. So for us to go over it on a Shabbat or during the week and we look at these things, we just have a very limited understanding about what all these things mean. And I think the reason why is simply because the Most High doesn't want us to go too deep on it, try to like super spiritualize it, but look at it for what its face value is and take the time to investigate. And you will find there is some meaning in it, but there's a lot more to it that I just don't know because I'm not Moshe. I didn't go up and have this given to me. I didn't see this pattern. Okay. So he says, tell the people of Israel to take up a collection for me, accept a contribution from anyone who wholeheartedly wants to give. All right. So, of course, he wants them to be wholehearted. And that word wholehearted there is dealing with one's desire, right? And so I have here in Hebrew this word. I put this here underneath because I want to remind myself of what I'm trying to bring out. The idea of the collection and the contribution is going to be the teruma. Okay. That's the teruma. The contribution is the teruma right here. Okay. The thing that's going to be exalted, the thing that you are going to lift up to me, the thing that you're going to give to me. Okay. And what you're going to give to me, okay, because here it is, this li here, right? This li right here, the li, I'll put it a little bit bigger so those who understand what I'm saying. This word right here, that's right here, okay, means not just for me, but it means mine. It means mine. So what he's asking is for you to give me what's already mine. Okay? Listen carefully. So of the items that he's requesting from them, he's asking, they already are his. Like King David said when he did his contribution, he said, who am I to give you something that you've already given me? So the 90 tons of gold that David had and the silver and the jewels and all that all comes from the Most High. So he's communicating with us and letting us know that everything that you have is mine. The whole earth is his. Your soul is his. Your health, your strength is his. He gave it to you. It's already written. The outcomes in our lives, it's his. You see, the gold, the silver, the wealth, the poverty, it's his. All of it belongs to him. So this is something that's very interesting for us because he's asking for something that already belongs to him. It's like him giving us something and say, give me something out of that I gave you. And that's the testing of the heart, the testing of one's mind, to see if they feel the same way about me that I felt about them. I want to know if they're as passionate about me as I am about them. And I'm only going to accept it from the individuals who feel the same way that I feel about them. And I'm going to show that to you today. Okay. I'm not going to harp on this too much because I'll get emotional. I'll start yelling and screaming and going off because I start thinking about everything. I think about my life. I think about how he's been guiding me through my life and how he's been guiding his people. Even our worst days are still his because he gave it to us. The curses that we have, they're on us, but they're his curses. The blessings that have been bestowed upon us, they're his. So why would he ask us for something that already belongs to him? Because it's the simplest way, it's the easiest way to find out if someone feels exactly the same way about you that you feel about them. That's what it is. That's what he's looking for. Okay. So, you know, only 3 chapters, 25, 26, 27. We weren't there. We didn't get the gold and the silver. So we don't have anything to do with it. The Ark of the Covenant is no longer around. It's, that's not a big deal. So what am I supposed to get out of this? This is what we're supposed to get out of it. That if you and I can't recognize that everything is his, and we're not willing to give him what he's given to us, or even a small portion of it, it shows your heart. It shows where you are with him. And matter of fact, he tells us, I don't want anything except from the person who has this type of heart, who has this type of mindset, because that's what heart is in Hebrew. When he talks about being wholehearted, he's literally saying that, since everything is mine, I want to know if you'll give it to me, if you'll give it back to me. Just like he did with our father Abraham, which people would say, hey, he was willing to, sacrifice his own son, and this is a picture of Christ. No, it's not. He said, now I see that you wouldn't have withhold anything from me, especially the thing that he gave him. It was his. Yitzchak was Yah's that he gave to Abraham. Our children are Yah's. And is there anything that you and I are willing to withhold and to hold back from him? That's the problem. When he says being wholehearted, remember, it talked about how Caleb was wholehearted towards the Most High. He had a desire to want to do whatever the Most High wanted him to do. And that's where we're at. We have to give all of ourselves. Okay. And I want to talk about what that means, not just from an abstract term about be wholehearted, So that word that was being used there, wholehearted, is a word called nadav. Okay. And this is one of the names of Aaron's sons. It's actually his oldest son called Nadav. And so you say, well, okay, well, what does Nadav mean? Right? Nadav means to be wholehearted. It means to be willing, but it also means to be very passionate. So Yah is testing whether or not we are passionate towards him. And anything that we give to him, we have to do it with passion. We have to do it with what they would call enthusiasm. Okay. So when it comes time for us to study, it comes time for us to learn about what our ancestors have done and to learn about our culture. This is why I push learning the Hebrew language. This is why I push learning the Hebrew culture. I don't care if you learn 5 words for the next year. At least you added to what you didn't know before. You understand? So our passion, we have to demonstrate our desire and our enthusiasm towards the Most High. There's people right now, they're very, I would say, enthusiastic, or I would say lethargic when it comes to, worshiping or serving the Most High or seeking the Most High. Even in our seeking him, and even in our learning about him, we're going to have to do it with passion. The Most High is not looking for someone who's half-hearted. He's not looking for individuals to be excited about who they are, but yet they won't find out who he is. See, there's a lot of people out here talking about how excited they are that they found out the truth. And they're saying the truth is that we're the people of Israel. Well, oh, whippity do. Congratulations. You found out that you're the people that betrayed the Most High. You should be super excited about that and super happy. No. The truth of the matter is we're finding out the truth of what we have done and how we've abandoned the Most High. The truth is that we're a rebellious people. The Most High said, I can go talk to people with a foreign speech and they would do what I said. Our passion has been directed in the wrong areas. We're very passionate about, what's important to us. We're very passionate about an unforeseeable future. We're very desirable or desiring other things that we want for ourselves, and yet we're not looking about what does he want? What is he expecting from us? See, we're just what can you give to me? Can you come and save me from my enemies? Same mindset that our ancestors had. Betray them and then come back and cry and please help me. Then he helps them and they go back and do the same thing over and over again. You see? So we talked last week about our loyalty being, misdirected. Our passion is misdirected. Okay. So he wants those who are passionate about him like he's about us. Well, where can you find that he's passionate? He said, I gave you jewelry to wear, bracelets for your hands, a necklace for your neck, ring for your nose, earrings for your ears, and a beautiful crown for your head. Why is this important? Why are you bringing this up? This wasn't part of the Haftarah. Why are you talking about it? Simply because in this chapter, the Most High is describing his bride. And he's telling her everything that he's done for her. So when the Most High went to go get Israel from out of Egypt, he laced them with jewelry. He gave them bracelets. He gave them necklaces. He gave them rings for their nose. He gave them earrings for their ears. He gave them everything. He gave them jewels. Why? Because he's passionate. Because it was his passion that caused him to come and get us. It's his love that he continues to tell us that caused him to come and to deliver us from our bondage and from our slavery. You understand? And our oppression. And we didn't go out empty-handed, people. We went out with the jewels and the bracelets and all the things that belonged to someone else that the Most High said, I'm going to let you pillage them and you're going to plunder them and I'm going to give it to you. And that's what he's done because he has passion for us. So he wants to be in a relationship with us. This is the reason why we were brought out into the wilderness. Okay. And we didn't not come to him and we didn't leave empty handed. So when he talks about don't come to me empty handed, you should never show up empty handed, especially when the person put everything in your hand. You understand? Nadav has to do with nobility. The mindset that the Most High is looking for is for individuals who are noble of their character. And within that, there were some things that were used. Okay. I call them cherished items. They would be recognized as the metals. Let's just start there. I don't have time to go through the goat hair and the badger skin and all the colors, but I do have time to go through some of the items that were requested. Okay. So the Most High is asking for us to give him back something that we cherish. Okay. The things that they cherish the most are what they would call the noble metals. Okay. Noble metals. Metals that are highly ranked. Okay. And so one of the first metals that he asked for, and you can look it up, is called a noble metal. Okay. This ain't tin. This is not aluminum. Okay. It's not iron. It's gold. Okay. He asked them for gold. As you would see in the Holy of Holies, everything was purified in all gold. The Ark of the Covenant was gold. The lid, which they call the atonement cover with the malakim see the cherubim that you see right here, all 100% gold. Okay. The poles covered in gold. The walls covered in gold. Okay. The whole entire thing was covered in gold. That's the Holy of Holies. All gold. Okay. The floor, okay, is dust, but the walls, all gold. Okay. Why? Because it represents majesty. It represents the majesty of the Most High. Only the ones who have the mindset of nobility can give the Most High what he's asking for. Only the person who can recognize the majesty of Yahweh is the one who can be able to give to him. See, we have to recognize this. We have to recognize that Yah is a king. Okay. And often sometimes we forget that. We think that he's just some regular God that's like all the other gods. Okay. That we have served in the past. We can call on his name anytime we feel like he don't answer us. He will actually, make room and make decisions and make moves for us on our behalf, even though we're not right. We can manipulate him into, that's what we think. We can manipulate him into doing what we want him to do. Because all we got to do is call on him and he'll answer like he's a servant to us. Call on the name of your God and he'll answer you. See, that's what we think. But the fact of the matter is the Most High is majestic and he's a king. And so because he's a king, he's asking for the people who are he's going to live among to up your game, change your mindset. Our mindset has to be one of nobility. Okay. The gold that he asked them for, everyone, was the gold that they got from Mitzrayim. Correct? Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. When I was doing my study, I found out that the gold, the silver, the stones, the spices, and a lot of the things that the Most High asked, all the precious goods that he asked the children of Israel to give, to be the terumah, were items that were already being traded in Egypt. Egypt would go to these people here, or these people would come and trade their gold, okay, with Egypt because Egypt was a world power. Okay. So Sheva and the Ramah, if you look them up, those are descendants of Abraham on one side, but also too, they have in Genesis chapter number 10, it talks about how there are relatives of the Canaanites, okay, or you would say Mizraim. They actually come out of Cush. So beside that, they are the ones who are bringing these spices, they're bringing the precious stones, and they're bringing the gold. So when the Most High gave the children of Israel all these stones, the gold, and the precious, and all these things, it wasn't like Egypt was the provider of these things. They had received these things from the traders, and what they did was they brought the best. So when the Most High plundered Egypt, He didn't just give them regular spices; He gave them the best of all spices that all the traders that were coming to Egypt would bring. So a lot of the items that they were taking from Egypt were items that were from other places that were the best. This is what they traded in. So the Most High is showing us that the precious stones and the gold and all the quality, the best of everything that you have is because I put it in Egypt for you. So when I plundered them, you would get it. So you didn't have to go trade with Sheva to get what I'm asking you for. You didn't have to go to Ramah to get any of these things. So Yah had already planned what he wanted. So he put everything in our hands that he already wanted. And what he wanted was the best. So therefore, he already had the people from these locations bring the best. And why did he do it? He did it for you and I. Yes. So,
Yeah, Keith, just to say like how amazing this room that you're talking about is worth in today's currency. Like the walls, you're saying everything was made of gold.
mhm.
We're talking about the altar, the doors, the cherubim, the Ark of the Covenant. In today's currency, this room would be about, or this whole thing would be tens of billions.
Yeah. Yeah. Majesty, royalty, tens of billions of dollars, the purest gold. Elder Bill, Azania.
Um, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why my hand went up, but I was speaking at the same time. Doesn't it say, is it Yashayahu 60, like redeemed Israel, that he was going to build our walls with uh every precious stone
Yes.
that Yes, right.
Yeah, so that's not spiritual. That's not spiritual. That's physical. This and the people, as you mentioned in Isaiah, and I believe it's in chapter number 54, he's using the same individuals that are still right now are that are involved in gold, the best gold. They're bringing the best spices. Everything the best is going to be brought to the temple of the Most High. My point that I'm trying to bring out to us is he's so passionate about us that prior to us leaving, the traders of these places would come and give their gold, their spices, and everything, and the Most High turned around and brought it to Mitzrayim just so it could be available when we leave. So he brings it out to the wilderness so he can see who's going to give it to him. It's an exchange. Do you understand? That's what I wanted to show you. Okay. So going back to the idea of passion. So look at the passion that he had for us. Just look at it. Why silver? Why did he want silver? Silver is a picture of redemption. If you notice, silver is always used. It's the monetary currency that's used for when someone had to redeem something. It's used when a child was born and they had to redeem that child. Okay. It's used when they had exchanges of, property. Silver, kesef. Okay. So that is a picture of redemption. So silver was used in the tabernacle in certain areas. Okay. There were like some hooks, some bases. Okay. But not inside the Holy of Holies. Okay. Next one is bronze. Why bronze? Bronze was used in the courtyard. Bronze was used for the altar. Bronze is a picture of captivity. So when you look at the silver, look at the majesty of gold, you look at the silver as redemption, and then you look at the bronze as captivity, to be redeemed from captivity. This is what Yah is using these metals for, these noble metals. Matter of fact, gold and silver and bronze are conductors, which they would call bronze as copper. They're great conductors of electricity. Okay. So, and also too, they're incorruptible. They don't corrupt. Okay. So there's a lot of other areas that we could talk about, but the main point is the captivity is what he's talking about when he has the bronze. That's why the altar is there. That's why the out in the courtyards, there's more bronze used there. There's no gold, no majesty out in the courtyard. Okay, so the Most High is making a clear distinction between these different areas, the courtyard, then the holy place, and then the Holy of Holies where he's at. He's making a separation to show us the majesty of the Most High. And he's showing us that I've opened a door for you to be able to communicate with me, right? And I want to live among you. Something I came to my mind when I was thinking about the majesty of the Most High, and this is what popped up. Do you know the Most High says even if pity is shown to the wicked, he still doesn't learn what righteousness is? In a land of uprightness, he will still act wrongly and fail to see the majesty of Yahweh. So what is that talking about? The Most High is saying, even if I spared someone, you know how we want him to spare people? You know how we want him to accept people in our lives because they're our relatives or they're our friends or they're our mates or our children. He's saying, even if I spared them, they're still not going to learn what righteousness is. And the only reason why they're not going to learn is simply because they don't want to learn. Because you see in the book of Ezekiel, chapter number 18, he says you have a choice. The wicked and the righteous both have choices. But we say that Yahweh's way is not fair, but he gives the wicked an opportunity to turn and save his own life. So the reason why there's no pity that's going to be shown is because there's no desire for that person to learn. Once our mind is set on not learning, right? And we're never going to learn what righteousness is because we don't have that mindset. We don't have that. Only a person of nobility, only a person of a willingness, only a person who's wholehearted will have a desire to learn and be passionate about Yah. So if we don't have any passion towards him and we still want to follow in our wicked ways, and wickedness doesn't mean, again, that we're walking around with some horns and we got a shirt on that says I'm wicked. It says that I'm going on my path. I'm going to do the things that I want to do when I want to do them. Irregardless to whatever there is in opposition against me, I'm going to walk on my path because that's what wickedness is. It's on a whole nother path. These are two paths. The wicked has a path, and the righteous has a path. The Most High says if a wicked decides that they're going to turn from their path and turn to the path that I'm saying, then they'll become righteous. If the righteous is on the path that Yah has said and decide that they're going to do something wicked, he says, I'm not going to remember none of your righteousness. You're done. Ezekiel 18 all day long, you're done. Ezekiel 33:11, you're done. So he's telling us that you and I have to make up our minds. If we're going to be with him, then we got to be with him. And we're got to be with him wholeheartedly. Don't you get it? What he told Caleb? He said, Caleb is able to go in because he was wholehearted with me. His whole heart was with me. Anyone who's not wholehearted is not going into the land. Anybody who doesn't have a mindset of passion and willingness and wholeheartedness is not going to be in Yah's presence. They're not going to be able to participate with him. He's not going to be intimate with us. Do you understand? So we have to recognize the majesty of the Most High. If we don't recognize this, then it's over. Game over. He doesn't want nothing from us. There is also nobility in colors. We're only going to talk about one of them today, okay? Which you know is my favorite. It's the first one is mentioned. The first color that is mentioned is called Tekalith, but all colors have to deal with frequency. Gold has a frequency, silver has a frequency, bronze has a frequency, colors have a frequency, linen has a frequency, gold hair has a frequency. Everything has a frequency. Okay? We've been over this before. Okay? The ultraviolet color is the first color that he asked for. They have in the English blue. It's not blue. It's not blue, people. It's ultraviolet. Okay, and there's a purpose why it's ultraviolet, because ultraviolet has a different frequency than blue. Ultraviolet means that it's the closest you'll get to unseen light. It's invisible. Okay, ultraviolet, go look it up. UVA, UVB light that's coming out from the sun. There's a spectrum of color. Ultraviolet means that you can't see it. Okay, on a spectrum, it's the closest, it's right next to being invisible. Because if the ultraviolet is coming from, you don't see the ultraviolet lights coming off from the sun. You don't see that. But it's represented by this color. Okay. And as you notice in this presentation, I have that in around the border. It's in there. There's purple, there's argamon. So the colors that you see in the slide, all these colors that we have around here, on these banners around here, they have the colors of the tabernacle. Okay. You have the Tekalith right here. You have the argamon right here, the purple, and you have the crimson right here. So when you look around the borders of this presentation, those are the colors that were in the tabernacle. Those are Yah's colors. Okay. Those colors have a frequency. Okay. The color ultraviolet is called Tekalith. It's not blue. It's called Tekalith. Okay. Tekalith, within that word, is this word call right here. Okay. As you know, Hebrew means something. This letter right here is the palm of your hand. That's the palm of your hand. Okay. The next letter over here is the lamed, which is the staff. Okay. This word by itself, called kol, means to tame. Okay. Okay. The staff is used to tame. That's what it's used for. But it's also used to direct. It's also used to teach and to direct and to guide, like a shepherd who has the staff in his palm. Okay. He has it in the palm of his hand. This same color called Tekalith means to be wholehearted, complete, Kol means to be complete. So this is a representation that the Most High is asking for. The first letter right here means you. That's that T again. And here's the kolet. That's to be tamed. You will be tamed. Okay? Not by the color, but what it means. This is the reason why this color is used in the tzitzit that's supposed to be on the four corners of your garments. The four corners are your four wings. And wings are used for guardianship, like you see in your illustration right here. They're not there just because they're just there for decoration. He's telling us the reason why they have wings is for guardianship. The ones who are in the heavens, they're calling out Kadosh, 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 the seraphim, the fiery ones. They had 6 wings. These have 2 wings. And you and I are supposed to have our wings, which are your tzitzit that's on the corners, the kanaf. Kanaf means wing. So your kafanim, which is your wings, are on your 4 corners. You're supposed to have your wings on. So when you look at it, it would have this color tekalith in it to remind you that you and I need to be kol. That means in English, all. I need all of you to be tamed. I need your heart to be tamed. I need your soul to be tamed. I need your appetite to be tamed. I need your thought process to be tamed. I need your governance to be tamed. I need your relationships to be tamed. If indeed you and I are going to be part of the majesty of the King of the universe. You and I actively play a role in this. So who is going to guard the commandments? Because inside of our tzitzit, the fabric color tells us that you would look at it and remember the commandments. And that you would guard your eyes. Again, what is he telling us? He told us last week that these beings were guarding and taking their wings and putting over their eyes and saying, Kadosh, 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 Yahweh Zavaot, whose glory fills the whole entire earth. They could not look at him. They're guarding their eyes. Yah has put wings on us and says, guard my commandments. So you and I are supposed to be like these 2 beings that we see in this presentation right here. What are they guarding? If you remember, it is the 10 words that the Most High spoke, his testimonies, that is in that box. The gold box, which you and I know as the Ark of the Covenant. Yah is asking for our guardianship. I need a reader.
Okay, I'm ready.
Can you please go to 1 Kings chapter number 6 and let me give you the address so we can all know what the Most High is talking about when he's giving out his instructions, even to a king, that he tells him what he wants him to do. Go to verse number 11 and you read until you get to verse number, read 11 through 13.
And the word of the Lord came to Solomon, saying, concerning this house which thou art in building, if thou wilt walk in my statutes, and execute my judgments, and keep all my commandments to walk in them, then will I perform my word with thee, which I spake unto David thy father, and I will dwell among the children of Israel, and will not forsake my people Israel.
Hallelujah. That word about keep, everyone, is guard. Guard my commandments. Do you understand? Oh, that's for King Shlomo. That's for King David. They're all kings. That's not for us. We're the common people. No. He said, if you would do this, I will never abandon my people. This is about Yah's people. His people. You and I are his people. And because that is the case, you and I have a duty and a responsibility to guard Yah's commandments. Wholeheartedly. All of us. Even the strangers decide they want to live among us are going to have to guard Yahweh's commandments. And you only can do that if you understand the majesty of Yahweh. What we're talking about is high energy. All this is about high energy. Frequency, people. The wavelengths. High energy. The color is putting off high energy. The linen is putting off high energy. Go look it up. He tells them to build him an ark. Why the ark? Why does he want this ark? He wants this ark because the ark is a device. You and I were never told this. We thought it was just a box. It is a device. What kind of device, Akika? It is a communication device. That's harnessing Yah's words. Do you remember when he said, let there be light, and then all the light came, right? The earth was full with order, it was in chaos, and all of a sudden order came about because he said it. Then he said, let there be the heavens, and let's divide the waters from the waters, and he spoke that, and then all the waters separated the heavens from the earth. Then he said, let the land appear, and then everything moved out the way. It's simply because he spoke it. And anytime he speaks, there's power. Do you understand? So when he's talking, and he talked to the children of Israel and he spoke to them, and they were like, we can't hear this somewhere, otherwise we're going to. He said, yes, you will. That's a great thing. They know it. So what did he do? He took his testimony and he put it in a gold box. A device. And anyone who touched that device and approached it the wrong way was going to die. Because they were not and did not possess the correct frequency. Okay? Here's an example of an individual that we talked about before. His name is Uzi or Uzzah. Okay? Meaning Yah is my power. Oh, praise be to Yah. His name is Yah is my power. Yahweh's anger blazed up against Uzzah. Elohim struck him down on the spot for his offense, so that he died there by the ark of Elohim. And David was afraid. Why? Because this individual, he possessed the right name. Yah is my power. Uzzah did something, and you've heard what he did. He touched it. He touched the ark. He touched the gold box that you see right here with the gold poles. You see? The Most High told Moshe that nobody except for the family that I've authorized can even pick up this ark. They had to be sanctified. They had to have a registry at the Most High to know that they could even touch the poles. If they touched the poles and they weren't the right person, they were going to be put to death. Aharon was not allowed to lift up the Ark of the Covenant, people. Eleazar was not allowed to pick up the Ark of the Covenant. Only the individuals of the Kahath family of Levi were able to pick this up. Only Aaron's family can go in and perform a service for Yah. They're the only ones who could go in. They were high priests. Only the high priest alone could go in into this power. Except for Moshe. Do you understand? Uzzah burst open. That's what Peretz means. He didn't just touch it and just die. He exploded into a whole bunch of pieces. Like he just got electrocuted to the highest level and got blew up. He blew up. Body parts everywhere, blood everywhere. And it scared David. And David said, I don't want this ark. Well, how can I bring this to the place I'm going to take? I don't even want to put it nowhere around me because I'll die too. I highlighted here in bold about the offense because when we read something, we'll just skim right over that and say, oh, well, he just touched it. And that was the part that was wrong. He should have never just touched it. No. This means that he got comfortable. This is something for you and I to really, really think about. He got lazy in his understanding. He got comfortable to the fact that he forgot who it was that authorized this, who it was that spoke and put the words in the box. He thought it was just a gold box. He got out of his lane in dealing with the Most High. He got comfortable. You know how your child get comfortable and start talking to you like you're friends? It's even greater than that. He lost respect for the Most High. He got casual with the Most High. He got complacent with the Most High. Because he had a relationship, because he's the people of God. So now since he's God's people and he's one of the sons of Israel, he didn't see nothing wrong. That means that he forgot the commandment. That means that he forgot the decree where it says that the only family that can touch this is Levi. He's not from that family. And he died for this. And guess what? This is the same thing that's going to happen when we get out to the wilderness, because we got people today that are so comfortable with the Most High that they're claiming to be from the family of Levi and have no registry. No registry whatsoever, and says that they possess the spirit of the living Elohim while they're in their exile, while they're in their sin, while they're in their faith. They're filth. While we have spoken the names of other gods. And then because we say that we know him, then we're magically made clean. With no offense to the Most High Yah. No respect for the order that he has set. To respect the process of going through a cleansing process with the Most High according to what has been written. These are the laws, the statutes, the decrees, and the commandments of the Almighty, and you and I don't have a right to turn around and change nothing he ever said. Because how we feel. I'm one of the sons of Israel. I have the Spirit of God. I'm one of the dry bones in Ezekiel 37, and I have the Spirit of God. No, you don't. There's a process that has been written that should never be crossed. And because he got comfortable with Yah and he thought he knew him to the point where he could ignore what was written, he died. Because he got comfortable. Do you not know that the Most High said these poles that you see in this picture right here, once they were installed, they were never to be taken out of the poles, out of the rings, never. It is an electrical communication device that's full of the power and the majesty of the creator of the heavens and the earth. What does Yah want? What has he been in search of from the moment that he came to get us out of the land of Mizraim? He's made us his servants. We're his slaves. He purchased us. He bought us. But why? Oh, that's right. In the Torah, it talks about how if a female was brought out and she was sold into her slavery, she doesn't go out like the male servants, but there's a designation for her. Huh. So, okay. So Yah has designated us for what? Intimacy. I need you to put your antennas up right now. I need you to turn the device on right now so you can understand what I'm saying to you. He wants intimacy. You understand? He wants closeness. He wants to be near his people. That's what he's looking for. And he's looking for it on his terms. It is not going to be the way that you and I want it to be. It's not what you and I have been reading in books and people have been sharing with us across YouTube and in churches. It's going to be the way that he desires it. And it's going to be in his dwelling. It's going to be with him in a manner that suits the way that he wants it. It's going to be with the people that he chose. Listen to this. For thus says the high, the exalted one, who lives forever, whose name is Kadosh. I live in the high and Kadosh place, but also with the broken and humble, in order to revive the spirit of the humble and revive the hearts of the broken ones. And he continues to talk about, if I don't do this, then the creatures that I've made for myself will cease to exist. You and I are creatures, okay? We're beautiful creatures. Beautiful. We have eyes, we have a nose, we have hands, we can walk, we can run, we can swim, we can jump, we can speak, we can hear. We can do all those things. We're all made in different sizes and shapes and colors, different textures, different eye colors. See, we all have that, okay? A variety. But he's saying that I also live with the broken, which is a key for us. The key is the broken is the ones who break themselves. They're not broken by someone else. They're the ones who smash themselves, like David did in Psalms 51. A broken and a contrite heart you won't refuse, okay? Break me, smash. He said, I smash myself, okay? So this brokenness is something that you have to do on yourself. The humble here is a different word. At first, I looked at it, I thought it was one where you kind of browbeat yourself. You know, like I'm just depressed about what I've done wrong, but that's not what it is. This one here is called shafal, and shafal means to lower yourself to the lowest place that you can find. That means that you understand when you come before the high and exalted one, you come to the one whom all things had emanated from. You come to the one who has provided the food and the oxygen and the air and the water and the light and the darkness and the times and the seasons. You come to the one who's feeding the oxen and the donkeys and the sheep and the snakes and the insects and the reptiles. You come to the one who's caring about them. You come to the one who is looking at the antelopes and he's allowing his animals to migrate in different seasons. You're coming to the one who pushes the dolphins from one side of the world to the next, and the whales that travel thousands of miles to their mating grounds and then go back to the place where they can grow and mate. You understand? That's who we're dealing with. We're dealing with the one who has numbered the stars and calls them all by name, and they obey him. We're dealing with the one who spoke to the oceans and the seas and told them, yes, you could be as, boisterous as you want to, but don't cross the line. That's who we're dealing with. The high and exalted one. The one who has to be lifted up. The one who is set apart. The one who says, I'll come and live with you, but I'm going to come, and if you want me to live with you, I need you to build something for me so I can come, but it has to be according to the pattern that I show you. It's the Tafnifa. When you build it the way that I said, because I know that if it's not this way, I can't be with you. Because Yah's desire is to be intimate and to live among his people. That's his desire. He wants to live with us. In closing, this is what he said in the book of Ezekiel. My home will be with them. Now, before I continue to read, this particular verse and chapter is so important. It's the last verse of chapter number 37 of Ezekiel. Okay. This particular verse to me has more power than every other verse that I've read since I've been teaching.
My house will be with them. I will be their Elohim, and they will be my people.
Yes. Hallelujah. This verse has more power to me than any other verse that I've read. And I'm going to explain to you why. He says, my home, which is my Shikanti, okay? That means his dwelling. That's his home, his dwelling place, will be with them. I will be their Elohim, and they will be my people. That their Elohim means their power, okay? And they will be my people. The nations will know that I am Yohe-Wahe, Yahweh, who sets Israel apart as Kadosh. Then I have a word called Mekadesh right there, which I'm going to explain to you why this is important. When my sanctuary is with them forever. On the surface, it seems very clear that he says, I'm going to live with them. And it's very clear that that's when the nations are going to know that I am Yahweh. Okay. And then he says, then who sets Israel's apart as Kadosh. And then when my sanctuary, the sanctuary is different from his home. Okay, listen. So when English, they put it as home, it's really his Shikanti. His Shikanti is his dwelling place, but the actual sanctuary is what you would call his Mikdash. Okay. So one is Shikanti, my dwelling, and then he tells us where I'm going to dwell. Okay. So his home is not his sanctuary. Okay. His home is in the heavenlies. Okay. But he's saying, I'm going to come down and I'm going to dwell. This will be one of my house that I'm going to dwell on the earth, right? In this place called my Mikdashi, my sanctuary. So he's letting us know that the only way that the nations are going to know something is when this Mikdashi is here, when his sanctuary is with us. That's when they're going to know. Now, the key here is, it says, who sets Israel apart, meaning as I have Kadosh, but it said holy, okay? And then in the Hebrew, it says Mekadesh, okay? Makadesh. Makadesh is a process of making them holy, okay? So what he's saying to us, and I need everyone to listen, do not miss this. What he's saying is this Mekadash right here is what they will call an actively making you holy. Okay. So it's not like you and I are going to be holy and then that, that's just it. We're made holy. You know how the New Testament says you're holy, be holy. I'm holy. So now you're holy people, and then you're done, and that's it. No, that's a misunderstanding. That's a mistranslation of the scripture. The scripture here is telling us that I'm going to go through the process of making you holy through my sanctuary. So this is what's supposed to cause us to think about, what are you talking about? Because we're thinking it's a once, hey, I'm going to live among them. They're going to be kadosh, and then that's it. It's a wrap. Okay. And this is where a lot of people jump off the ship, because they want the once in a lifetime kadosh, and then they're gone. Then once we hit this, we don't ever have to worry about not being kadosh anymore. We fail to realize that the process of making us kadosh, or the process of making us holy, is a continual process, and the only way that that process can continue is when the sanctuary of Yahweh is with us. I hope you didn't miss that. I'm going to slow down. The only way that Yah is making us holy is by having him dwelling with us, and there being a sanctuary to wash us away from all the stuff that happens to us, like, giving childbirth, made some mistakes, some shagagas that we did, or some uncleanness that came upon us, or touching something dead. Then we have to go and be made clean. What he's saying is, without the sanctuary, there is no cleansiness. There will never be any cleansiness without the sanctuary. Because look what he said. Let's reverse engineer it. He's saying the nations will know that I'm Yahweh. Well, what do you mean you know that I'm Yahweh? He's saying they're going to know that I'm Kadosh, and that I'm set apart, because I'm going to, right? Because I'm going to set Israel apart as being Kadosh. And the way that he's doing it is through the Makadesh. The Makadesh is a continuing of making them Kadosh through the process of the sanctuary. Because it's when you go to the sanctuary that he has the ability, like he did when we were in the wilderness, and like he did when we were in the land. When the Levites would go before the Most High, they would always have to bring him an offering to cleanse the people, so they could be set apart as Kadosh, so they can have an open relationship with him. See, the only way that you and I can be in a real relationship with him, the only way that we can be intimate with him, is when we're Kadosh. So don't get mad at me when I say right now we're not Kadosh. The reason why we're not Kadosh right now, I need a reader. Where's my reader? My reader there? Hosea 3.
Yes, I'm here.
Hosea 3, 4, and 5, please. Hosea chapter number 3, verse 4 and 5. The reason why, let me know when you're ready.
1 second.
Hosea chapter 3, verse 4 and 5.
Okay. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days.
Hallelujah. So he's saying at that moment, that book is about a man marrying a prostitute or a whore. And then, of course, he said, I'm not going to be with you intimately with you until a certain period of time. That's preceding that verse. See, so the Most High is showing us through that in particular prophet that the children of Israel are going to be without any intimacy. Our intimacy with Yahweh is the sanctuary. It's his home. It's his dwelling place. For a lack of better terms, the altar is where we have our intimate moments with him. Okay, just like a man and woman come together and they use their bed as a place of intimacy, the Most High has used the sanctuary and used the altars, the place where we come and we're intimate with him. Okay, meaning we have to go through a process of cleansing to become intimate with him, to be able to come near him, to be able to, for him to hear us, for him to be able to associate with us. Yes.
Is the process of cleansing you're talking about, this would happen when we are brought back to the wilderness the second time?
That is a process of going through the purification process to get to the land. That's not the process of having the sanctuary, because he's not going to put the sanctuary outside in the wilderness. The actual time of us being around him, like coming to him on a regular basis, is going to be when we're in the land, when his sanctuary is there, because the sanctuary is the place where we're always being set apart. We're always being cleansed. We're always having this intimacy with him. You see, We don't get
These
to
are
have,
the appointed times when when the
yes,
men are
so,
called to
yes,
Israel. We're supposed to go there every certain times of every year. So it's like this cyclical cycle that happens
yeah.
repetitively,
Yeah, it's
right?
a time of celebration, but also too, you see in the book of Ezekiel, which we'll talk about next week, where he talks about how the children of Israel, once he told him, when you build this sanctuary, then you're going to have to, go through a certain process, inauguration process, in order to cleanse not only the sanctuary, but you have to cleanse the people. So the sanctuary has to be cleansed too, just like after he finished having it built, it had to go through a process of being sanctified. So it's not just the building, it's what has to happen to the building in order for it to be accepted. Even after they made the gold, they made the silver, they made the Ark of the Covenant, they made the gold walls, they made all that. That still wasn't sanctified. They had to go through a process in order to sanctify. Remember, he put the blood on the ark. He put the blood on the incense altar, on the horns. He put the blood on the altar outside. He put the blood on the laver. He sprinkled everything, the curtains, everything, in order to sanctify it. So the important thing here is that we need to understand our sanctification, okay, can only happen when we have a sanctuary, a continual making us. So he'll show the world that these are my people. I'm setting Israel apart. Through what? Through the sanctuary. Because you're only going to know that when after I sanctify them through the sanctuary. The nations are going to not know that you're my set apart people. So being set apart to make you kadosh means that Yah has to live with us. Yes, Azanya.
Where it says in I think it's Joel 3:21, and I will cleanse their blood that I haven't cleansed before. Can you expound on that, please?
On which one?
Joel 3:21, where the Most High says, and I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed before.
Job. Did you say Joel or Job?
Joel,
Joel. Yoel. Okay.
Yoel, yes, 3 and
Let's,
21.
let's see. Yoel. Yoel.
And the JPS, it might be 4.
I'm trying to find it right quick. Here it is. Yoel. Um, and which one you say?
It says 3 and 21. It says, um, and I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed before. I know what Yoel is. It's like a lot of it's mixed up in
Yeah,
translation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm looking and I'm looking at 3 and 21, and it says, "Don't fear, O soul, be glad." But then it depends on what version of the Bible you're reading,
Right, right.
because it doesn't. I'm not seeing after all this.
Doesn't say it in all versions. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Well,
Okay.
we'll look at that. We have to, make sure that we're putting everything, because it's talk about the day of Yahweh, right? So
Yes.
we'll take a look at that. I don't want to answer it without giving a full, because I don't know it off the top of my head. Like, I know he said, I'm going to give you my spirit, and in that day, your sons and your daughters are going to prophesy. But also, I want to look and see what it says in the Hebrew. That's what I want to see.
Okay, then. All right.
Okay, I'll
Hold on.
do. Hallelujah. So yeah, anyone else before I finish out?
Yeah, Kika, just to get more clarity on this verse, it says, the nations will know that I am Yahweh
Hmm.
and that he's going to make us holy. So in the days that are coming when he has made us holy and we have the sanctuary in place, do you see that the nations will always be surrounding Israel no matter what point in time, like we are here, like there's always going to be nations around us?
Yeah, there will. According to Isaiah, beginning, I think in chapter number 52, if I'm not mistaken, he talks about all the nations that survive. They're going to come up every year, and they're going to bring your gold, your silver. They're going to bring the best of their stuff that they have, and there are going to be some surviving nations that are going to recognize. So when he talks about the nations, he's not saying, he's saying the nations that exist at that in particular time, because it would contradict when he says that I'm going to make a full end of the nations. What he's talking about is destroying their systems, okay? Their hold that they have over the children of Israel. In this particular verse, when he says, "My home will be with them, and I will be their Elohim," in context, he's talking about, instead of it being Judah and Israel separated as two nations. He's saying they're only going to be one nation. They're only going to have one king, and they're only going to be. And then to solidify that I have sanctified them, it'd be when I'm living with them. So what this does is shuts down the idea that we think that we're going to be sanctified while we're in the lands of our enemies, because he says while they're living in the lands that they're living, they're sinning against me. All right. So let's have our reader, Sharon. Ezekiel chapter number 37, verse number, I'm going to say 23. Let's 37. And let's say, no, yeah, 20. Yeah, I was right. 23.
Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God.
Okay, stop right there. He said, I'm going to save them and cleanse them. See that? I'm going to cleanse them. Read that part again. I'm going to cleanse them from the lands that they were, where they were what? They were sinning. Go ahead.
Go to 24.
Yep, 20.
And David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. And they
Continue.
shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore.
Mm-hmm.
My
Continue.
tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore.
Hallelujah. So when it says, and I shall set them apart as being holy, what he's saying is they're not telling you that is a verb tense. That is the may here is the participle, meaning it's at that time. So when he does this, he's going at that time, he's going to be sanctifying them when his sanctuary. So it's not just I'm going to set them apart as holy and that's it. He's saying I am sanctifying them. Yes, Kelvin.
How can the nations prosper if he destroys their processes?
Well, he's going to destroy the system. The system is even like he destroyed. Okay, so for example, when he destroyed Mizraim, right, and he went in and he destroyed them. He destroyed their agriculture. He destroyed all that. He destroyed their system, right? Their hold that they had over his people. But yet they still had their gold, they still had their silver, they still had all the things of value and the intrinsic values that they have. That is being transferred. So even when he destroys them, it's not hey, like I'm just gonna, wipe them out completely. Some of them, there's always gonna be some people that are left over, and whatever they have, whether it's their minerals, whether it's their oil, whatever it's their spices, whatever it's their gold, whatever it may be, they're going to bring offerings unto the Most High. And the children of Israel are going to be the ones who are going to receive it. So I don't know. I'm not the Most High. I don't know exactly what degree he's going to do that. But we know that he says that these nations are going to bring you the gold. They're going to bring you the silver. They're going to bring everything. They're going to help you. They're going to, strangers and foreigners are going to help you rebuild. And they're going to do all these sorts of things. So that's the best answer I can have. I just wanted you guys to know that what he's talking about here is that while you are in the lands of your enemies, you're sinning. When you get out of this land and he has his home among us, he says that I'm the one who's going to be sanctifying you. So you're the only ones that he says that the people are going to know that I'm Yahweh who sets you apart as a Kodesh when he's sanctifying you by his sanctuary. So there's no true sanctification, okay, for us as a people on a regular basis without the sanctuary. Yes, Sister Sharon.
This is making me look at Psalm 100 in a different way, and I could be off, but my mom was reciting this morning, and there's a line that says, well, basically it's saying, make a joyful noise, serve him with gladness, come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that has made us, Israel, I'm assuming, and not we ourselves. We are
Uh-huh.
his people and the sheep of his pasture. And then it's almost like they're talking to the nations, enter into his gates with
Uh-huh.
thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. So it's kind of making me think that that song might have like, might be explaining like how all that will go down and
Well,
what they will be told when
yeah,
they.
it is. It's interesting that you mention that because if you look at Psalms they're called the judgment Psalms. Okay. So when you look at chapter number 93 of Psalms, 93 all the way to 100 is Yah judging the earth. They'll all from 93 to 100. Everyone write that down.
Okay.
Read 93 all the way to 100, and he's going to tell you about, like, for example, 93 and 1 says, Yahweh is king, robed in majesty, robed. Elohim is robed. He's girded in strength. The world is well established. It cannot be moved. Your throne was established long ago, and you have existed forever. And then it's going to go and tell you about him judging the whole entire planet. 94 begins with, and there is no break. There is no Psalm of David. There's none of that. He says in 94, God of vengeance, appear. And then he goes on and then judge the earth. He's the judge of all the earth. So starting in chapter number 93, it gives you Yah's majesty and it begins to tell you about all the judgment that he's going to do. And at the end of the day, we're telling the nations, as you just said, come, sing, lift up the Most High. Yahweh is king. He's because he judges the people fairly. So that will be something that everyone can read today. If you want to find out what the judgment for the whole entire earth is going to look like, it's going to be right there in Psalms, chapter number 93 through Psalms 100. There is no break. There is no, hey, this is a Psalm 94. This is from Korach. No, it's all
Wow.
one deal. He's telling you about how he's going to judge
Mm.
the whole entire earth. And then it's a call to praise him because now he's brought his glory to his name because he's robed in majesty. The whole earth the mountains are going to shake. It talks about how he's going to put an end to all wickedness. So read that today. Okay. So I'm going to conclude with this is that the Most High wants to live with us. And the only way that he is going to live with us is when his sanctuary is with us. The only way that he is going to allow us and himself to be with us is when the people that are coming to him are the people who have the same mindset of the people who in the wilderness who were wholehearted, who were saying at that moment, I'm wholehearted, I'm with it, I want to, be part of this. I see that you have love for me because you gave me all this and I want to give back to you and I want this relationship. It has to go, babe. There's an exchange. The people that are going to be able to go to the sanctuary are the people who are vibrating on that same frequency. You and I cannot keep the laws and the statutes and commandments of the Most High if we're not on the right frequency. And I'm not just using this word frequency to get us all like, ooh. No, it's literally saying that since the ark is a device and what's in a device is the 10 words, they're vibrating at a certain frequency. And that anyone who touched that ark was put to death because he didn't allow them to. They have to be on that frequency. They have to be set apart. So those who made those contributions, who gave that teruma, had to come from the mindset. So you and I, when we have the right mindset, we're going to be the ones who will be able to go to his sanctuary. We're the ones who's going to be set apart. When he talks about, you'll know, the nations will know that Yahweh sets Israel apart, he's talking about the people who survived. He's talking about the remnant of Israel. He's not talking about the people that are in here who are not wholehearted with him. That's the point I'm trying to make. We want to be wholehearted with Yah. We want to be noble, and we want to follow what he says. Here's your Torah portion for next week. There's the Haftarah, chapter number 43, in Ezekiel, which is going to be dealing with the temple. It's going to be dealing with the service of the temple, right? And then 59 through 78. Okay. And so, and then Exodus 28 and 1 through 30 and 10. That's a very short one. So a lot of people are like, well, why you only do like 2 to 3? Or you're not really on the other schedule? Everyone's like probably a week ahead of me. And that's simply because they just kind of go through it real fast. And I'm just going week by week. Whatever the portion is, that's what we're doing. Okay. Hallelujah. Does anyone have any questions?